Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 304, Respect Yourself and Your Boundaries. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. I'm here today in my home studio with Mr. Sean Kilgore, my new producer. Woo, Sean.
Woo. Good morning, everybody. It is a great day. It is Monday, April 15th. This is episode 304 of Experience of the Soul podcast, our fourth episode together. I'm super excited and loving it. This episode is titled Respect Yourself and Your Boundaries.
Respect yourself. Respect yourself.
You got to respect yourself.
Yeah, exactly. RESPECT.
That's right, baby.
Well, it's funny. I was just realizing this is tax day. As a business owner myself, I'm well aware of these tax dates. Sean, I don't know if you have the same thing because you own your own business as well, that boy, these dates come right up every 3 months. You know, you've got to be ready for this day. If you live in the U.S., you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you live in another country, tell me how it works. I'd love to hear if there's the dreaded tax day in another country or if it just comes out automatically. You know, sometimes I think our systems in the U.S. need a little updating. But anyway, happy tax day if you live in the U.S.
Happy tax day. I don't know if it's a happy, it's tax day.
Exactly. Well, if you get money back, there's a couple people I follow, you know, on Instagram. One of them his name is Latrez Anderson, and he's so funny. He lives in Atlanta, and he talks about when you're getting a refund, how you talk to your manager, like, oh, I can't come in. And, you know, and then when the tax money runs out, yeah, I can work a double shift. Oh, it's so funny.
That's good.
Oh, I love people who make me laugh. Gosh, I need that so much.
Big time.
And to our listeners, you know, who've been along the journey with me, you know, I've come out of a big healing time of change. I guess I would say it's been a time of transition for me. And so it's what this show's been about, right, Sean? We really want to bring our listeners, you know, along with us on this journey. And it's been a time of change for you too.
Right. Absolutely. We went from, you know, successful transitions and then new beginnings. And now here we are, you know, talking about, you know, respecting our boundaries. And it's so important to have boundaries. I actually, one of the other people that I work for actually says, and he owns his own business. And of course, when you do that, you know, there really are no business hours, right? You're not working 9 to 5. You're pretty much working around the clock, right?
You're talking about me now, Sean. Yeah,
I know it's not you. It's not you. But that's one of the things he says is that he tries to keep, you know, business to business hours, even though it's not always possible, you know, especially, you know, when you are a business owner. Or a realtor. I mean, you know, I have some friends who are realtors, and they're
do too.
And talk about people not respecting your boundaries. I mean, they are getting phone calls at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, you know, with the, you know, being expected to work, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, ministry has really taught me this one. And I think it's an important topic. And you're right. I have several friends who are realtors, several who are counselors and ministers. And the expectation is that we are available 24/7. And I know now that you've been working, you know, with me on my social media, you have discovered that if people send me a message, I could maybe not have talked to them for 5 years or 10 years. They expect an immediate turnaround, forgetting that I have a life in ministry that I serve. And of course, I do my best to get back to everyone in a timely manner, but the expectations are not very realistic. So it's interesting, and this is a great topic, and really it follows where we've been. Like you said, we started talking about this time of transition and new beginnings, and each show, friends, really does build on the last show, and some themes we tend to come back to, and this theme in particular about respecting yourself and your boundaries is something we all need to think about. Now we also all know people who are so boundaried, they have no friends at all. And those are called walls. Those aren't really boundaries, but this is really from a spiritual perspective. So, Sean, if you will, give us the episode number and title one more time. It will help me get on board with what I'm to say today.
Absolutely. This is episode 304 of Experience of the Soul. Respect yourself and your boundaries.
Yes. Wow. That hits me deep, friends. Respect yourself and your boundaries. And I'll tell you, as you begin to know yourself more deeply, what happens is that it becomes, I will say, increasingly important to honor yourself, to honor where your energy might be, and even your process. And what I mean by that is, I believe each of us has a really distinct purpose we're seeking to live out. We have almost a calling from the universe. And it's not just ministers that have this. I believe everybody in every field has a calling. And the calling really is to be your best self. Your calling is to live from your highest spiritual self. And I'll say the reason I chuckled is right as I was saying a calling, I was thinking of a high calling. A bird just swooped in and is looking at me right through my window here. Like, don't forget, high calling. Yeah, so we all have a high calling for our lives. So a lot of times people think of ministers as, being called, but I think all of us are called to grow, prosper, and evolve. And it doesn't matter if we, own our own business, as we were talking about earlier, if we work for a corporation, if we are retired or stay at home mom or dad. In fact, we have a calling, and that calling is to live a spiritual life. That calling is to live a blessed life so that we not only enjoy life, not only do we live an abundant life, but our life can bless others. So what I'm speaking about today is a deepening of the process and awareness that we are all called, that we are all chosen. And I keep coming back to those themes as well. And that to really live the life we were called to live, we're going to have to move into a deeper respect for ourselves, a deeper honoring of our boundaries and what is ours to do, and frankly, what is ours not to do. But we are called to live a spiritual life. If you were taking notes on a Sunday morning, I would say, number one, we are called to live a spiritual life. So as we know this, it becomes necessary to think about, okay, how is my given day, how is my given schedule going to play out? And even in future shows, I think it's, in a couple of shows, we're going to be talking about scheduling solitude. So learning to respect oneself, though, is really about a deeper self-love. It's like, I love myself enough to respect myself. I love myself enough to respect myself, meaning that I honor my values. I honor my needs, goals, and desires. I honor my need for rest and relaxation. I love myself enough to respect myself. Growing up in the South, we often were schooled on respect. And as a matter of fact, respect was not an option not to. In other words, you respected everyone. And in my family, we were taught not only to respect our parents, but even our brothers and sisters. If a brother or sister asked you to do something, the answer to a sibling was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, whatever that question was. And then even when with my mom, when I would go out and serve at soup kitchens, which I did so much of my childhood and my teenage years with my mom, she would say, honey, I don't care how these people look, how they smell. If it is a man or a woman, you speak to them the way you would speak to me, with the utmost respect. Even for our animals, we respected our animals. It was just a part of how we were raised. And so, somebody in the South would say, you raise cattle, you rear children, just so you know. But respecting oneself was not always a part of the teaching. It was about respecting others. So for me, learning to respect myself and my boundaries has certainly been a journey. Because again, part of what I learned about respect is you do what everyone else needs first. And that's a wonderful gift. It's a wonderful way to take care of people you know and love. But if you're not honoring yourself, it gets to the point where you can't honor others because you're depleted. You're depleted energetically, you're depleted emotionally, and sometimes even physically. It's just hard to, ramp up the energy to do for everyone if you're not doing for yourself or you're not honoring yourself and your needs. So if you know you're here to live a spiritual life, the question you're going to begin to ask yourself on a regular basis is, what do I need? Right? So what do I need? So if you're honoring others and not yourself, you run out of gas. But what we want to do is honor ourselves, and then our service to others, naturally comes forth out of that. It naturally comes forth as a gift to our families. And I just find when I'm honoring myself, I'm a better person in the world. I'm a better minister. I am a better human. I am a better mom. Frankly, I'm even a better homeowner. I look after my home and my property better. And it's really interesting. It's a little bit of a mindset shift. It's a shift in perspective, simply thinking I've got to respect myself and my boundaries. It's like allowing myself. This shift has been major over the years. I feel like every couple of years I have to do a really big, what's the word? I have to really look deeply at, am I doing this at the level I'm being called to? Because my tendency, I'll be honest, is to give my energy away. I did that recently in a big way, and I realized this is not sustainable. And I've done it in personal relationships. I've done it professionally, where I've given too much energy away and not respected my own limits and my own boundaries. So respecting yourself and your boundaries, friends, is a journey to wholeness. Yeah, respecting yourself and your boundaries is a journey to wholeness. Simply by asking myself, what is it I need, is the beginning of honoring myself. What do I need? And many of you know that have been along this journey with me. Many of you have bought the intentions journal. I have one here. I'll hold it up just so you can see it. If you haven't bought one yet and you are looking on YouTube, you'll know about it. It's on Amazon. And what's so great about the intentions journal is every day you're really asking, what is my I am of the day? What is this energy I need to bring forth today? And then what's mine to do? That's what these 3 points are. What's mine to do? What is the universe asking of me today? What do I need? What do I need to bring forth? What's going to take care of me today? And the reason that journal is out there is because when I was going through a time of transition, this is many years ago, I realized I needed some kind of spiritual process to help ground me every day, or else I was just going to be giving my energy away everywhere. It's a fact of the kind of personality that I work with and the kind of personality I'm tempering with my soul work. So it is something I come back to often. What I've realized, though, as I ask that question, what do I need? That truly honors myself. It honors my soul. It honors my body, and it honors my calling to live on purpose for God. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? At different points in my life, that question has been, what do I need to feel fulfilled? What do I need to be happy? What do I need financially? So this question for me has touched every area of my life. What do I need? And then honoring that. I think all of us have ideas that certain needs, wants, and desires. We say, oh, well, I can't want that. Like let's say we want a new vehicle, or let's say we want a new home or a higher income. Sometimes the ego or the personality self will come in and say, oh, you don't need that, or, oh, you don't deserve that, or whatever. So part of the spiritual journey becomes, honoring that need, want, and desire. And I always am asking Spirit, is this mine to do, be, and have? It's like I do have a desire and I want to honor that desire. I also want to live from soul. So it is a discernment piece as I walk through my life. How do I respect myself and my boundaries? In several shows ago on the Authentic Spiritual Journey, there was a whole show called Honor Your Process. And this is really another aspect of that. Respecting yourself and your boundaries. And it's been really interesting as I've come through this time of change. I've noticed that just slightly, the way I dress is shifting a little bit, just slightly. I'm a little more conscious in my appearance. To someone else, it might not look that different, but what I can tell you is it feels more honoring of myself. Interesting, right? So what do I need? Well, as I ask that question, what do I need? I'm filtering that, as I said, through my soul journey, through my spiritual awareness. It has more deeply connected me with Spirit. It has more deeply connected me with myself, with my true self. It's like, well, what do I need to move forward? What are the places that I'm feeling out of alignment with what I really want to need? Is there a place that I'm not respecting myself? I'll give you a very simple example. If I know I need rest and I'm sitting up late at night playing a video game or on Instagram or a Facebook, that is not respecting myself. That said, if I know I need rest and I'm putting everything away, I'm doing some deep breaths and meditations, that is clearly a different way of respecting myself. So the practices can seem very small and even minute in ways that we don't respect ourselves. But what I've discovered is, as I listen to that, as I seek to honor myself in my journey, some things that I used to do, I just don't even want to do anymore because I can tell it is working in opposition to what I really need to be doing and where I really need to be energetically. I mentioned that I had been sick for a couple weeks and how unusual, that was for me. And it's been really interesting because my schedule is typically full. I work at Unity North Tampa. I have clients. I teach online. I'm a mom. I have a home that, I enjoy working on and doing things. So I'm usually, my time is busy, not over busy, but it's busy. And I feel pretty fulfilled with my life. Well, when I wasn't feeling well, I had to respect myself in a different way. Part of respecting myself was slowing down and stopping. I didn't work out for, a little over 2 weeks, which was really strange. I usually work out 3 or 4 times a week, but my body did not want to do it. There's that scripture, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I can't tell you how much I wanted to work out and my body said no. Right? So sometimes you have to slow down and take a break. I remember early on when Sean and I were meeting, it was a day where I was overworking and I could not think of a title to save my life. And Sean texted me, and Sean, I don't know if you remember this, but you texted me and said, maybe you need a break.
I think I sent a little GIF that was like, take a break.
For God's sakes, woman. Yeah. Well, and it's so hard, right? When you love your work, like you were saying that earlier, when you love your work, you want
to do it all the time. You want to make sure it's done to the, nth degree, right, that everything's perfect. And
right. And my clients, I just adore. I hold them in prayer. There's people that support me that, are all over the country. So sometimes we're texting at odd hours, and it's like, I want to do that. But sometimes, homie needs a break,
Right.
And I was really touched by that, Sean, because you were like, the gift was take a break. And I said, oh my God, you do know me already. This is a little scary.
I love it.
I love it too. But after I took that break, what was interesting is I was like, oh yes, I went outside. I took a walk. I took some deep breaths. I have I love my back porch is kind of an old wood porch, and there's some nice trees in the backyard, and I've got kind of an edible landscape I've put in. And so just being on my back deck is very relaxing. And what I've found, quite honestly, is when I'm really honoring myself, like when I'm getting enough rest, when I'm hydrating, when I'm drinking enough water, when I'm eating well, when I'm honoring what my body needs, I am actually inspired. I feel enlightened. I feel invigorated. It's like, oh yes, there's enough time, enough energy. God loves me. It's like I can go to the truth so quickly when I'm honoring and respecting what it is I want and need. So yes, put simply, when you honor yourself, you get inspired. It's, on a very real level, when we just work, truthfully, it's self-abuse. It's a way to check out. It's a way to not be present. And as I mentioned earlier, when you love what you do, you don't realize, but you can start to put the business before yourself, and you don't want to do that either. So respecting yourself and your boundaries. And, I've had a few situations recently where I've set my boundaries. I've set them in love. And sometimes there's a reaction to that, sometimes not. And that all has to be okay. An example of that was when we were doing Sunday night church. I loved doing Sunday night church. I loved the idea of it. We had done a survey and people wanted to come, and my phone was ringing, and honestly, it was sweet. It was really sweet. I enjoyed it. Sean, was my music director. We had a great time, right, buddy? It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. And it got us working together and, establishing that sort of relationship. And it was great for many, many reasons. It was beautiful, beautiful environment, beautiful space.
Yeah, people said to me, it was like you were just at home with friends. And I said, well, that's how it felt. Now, but when I decided to stop that, not everybody was happy about it. And I understand. I wasn't 100% happy about it, but I could see that was a necessary change to make. It was the most honoring, really, of me and my energy. It was most honoring of other people's journey. I saw people being a little bit conflicted. Do I go here or do I go there? And I just didn't want to be in the middle of that. And the truth is, it's like it was only meant to be, I think, a bridge for people. It was there to help people into their next step. And I'm so happy I could do that. But to really honor myself and to honor the journey that God is guiding me to, I had to, let that go. And that was hard. But it's the most respectful of everyone involved, I think. And so that I could make that move, that I could honor that need, says a lot to me about my journey. It says a lot to me about how Spirit is guiding me in this process, because, I thought it was going to be to help people long term. That was my ego attachment. And once I got, this was just a short-term thing, then it was all good. And I could really see how Spirit was using that to support people in the short term. And other people have found spiritual communities to be a part of, or they're following me online. And that's great. That's great. So that was such a learning for me to honor the process, to respect myself and my boundaries. But I did really want to do it. And so it was a great experience, but it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I had to honor and respect that as well. So it's like, as we're, as I talk about honoring our dreams, goals, and desires, I often talk about that we all have these dream goals and desires. We all have things we want to do and accomplish and be. There's also, though, when we look through the soul and through the spiritual lens that I keep talking about, we also realize the calling is not just to do all this stuff. It's just what I want. That's all ego level. But what we want to do is from the higher way, ask, what is the soul needing right now? What is the soul's next step here? And release the ego attachment. So in respecting yourself and your boundaries, there's actually a lot of release because of asking for the higher calling of what we're supposed to be doing and being. And, again, from the personality level on the outside, it sure looks like doing Sunday night church was supposed to go forward, but on the soul level, it just was not. And I had to honor that. But asking, what is my soul needing right now? Not just what do I want, although that's a wonderful starting place. What do I want to need? What is the soul needing right now is where we finally get to. Because our soul is going to guide us in a different way than our personality self. The personality self, remember this, is rooted in the mind. The personality self is rooted in the idea that there's not enough. The soul knows there is enough. The soul is rooted in the infinite. The soul is rooted in no limits. Like it's unconditional, infinite. Infinity itself is connected in and through our soul. And so it's like the personality self is always in the short term. It only sees what's next right in front of us. And the soul can see way beyond this moment. It sees 6 months down the road, sometimes 10 years down the road. It has that capability as we tap in. Now, none of us do it perfectly, but our goal is to live from the soul, to seek to live from this higher wisdom, to guide us forward. The soul has the capacity to lead us, to guide us, to shape us, so that when we are ready for our next step, we are prepared to make it. Yes, we are prepared to make it. This is the part that I'm speaking of that becomes enlightening, that becomes invigorating, it becomes inspiring as we live from soul, and as we, follow this guidance, as we respect what's ours to do, what's not ours to do, then, wow, we start to get clarity. We start to feel more connected to the divine. And we begin to see how, as we follow this guidance, what comes forward for us is in alignment. This, for me, is a lot of fun. This, for me, is rewarding. When I can see, my soul knew months ago what was really going to be here, and my personality couldn't see it. I couldn't see it from the level of the mind. But now I see. So sometimes in this journey we call life, you're going to be very guided to respect yourself in a way that maybe your mind doesn't understand. For instance, maybe there is a friend that is out of alignment with your value system. And you have to decide, how do I want to walk through this? Can I stay in this? Is this detrimental? Do I need to set a boundary for myself? How do I navigate this? And this is what I mean about respecting yourself and your boundaries. It is going to very much, it is going to help you a tremendous amount as you begin to think, is this relationship respectful of me? Is this relationship honoring myself and my boundaries? Or am I being asked to give up parts of myself that are not wise? Think about this. Am I respecting myself? Am I respecting my boundaries in this work situation? Or am I being asked over and over and over to do things that are out of alignment with myself and my soul? So it's very important, and it'll be very advantageous to you to be asking this question. Is this person, is this job, are these behaviors I'm doing respecting myself and my boundaries? And it was really interesting. In the last year, I changed where I work out. And every time I was going to this old gym, I had this feeling that it just didn't feel good, and I couldn't name what it was. But as soon as I was willing to release the old gym and I got clear that this was not the right space for me, I was really guided to this new place. And this gym I've been in for, I don't know, about a year has been such a gift in my life. It's brought friends. My professor, who I take one-on-one jujitsu with, has blessed my life in so many ways. And interestingly, he was studying to be a rabbi before, back in the day. And so we always have spiritual conversations. So, even though I didn't know exactly what was off, I could tell energetically I did not belong at that old gym. And it was really coming out of this question is this really respecting me and what I'm about? If I'm feeling energetically something is off, I just need to honor that. And friends, that was not an easy decision because I had to leave a place I knew. I knew I had to, figure out my next step, but it was absolutely most respectful of me. And the gifts I've gotten after listening to that guidance and after following that and respecting myself and those boundaries, really, the gifts from that have been tremendous, right? So as I'm saying all this stuff, I think sometimes it sounds like, sometimes it sounds difficult, but what I'm saying is when you get to the other side, it is so rewarding. It's like, I want to be careful calling it soul work, but in fact, that's what it is. And it takes a great deal of courage sometimes to make these steps. But as you respect yourself and your boundaries, what I want you to know is you're going to be guided. You're going to have a sense of clarity. You're going to have this sense of purpose and being connected not only to God, but to all that is, that you're going to see your place in the universe as a whole. And I think this is what we all want. And certainly a sense of peace and joy come after that, because as we honor ourselves, we're honoring the gift that we are and that we are to be. So my hope for you is that as your journey develops, you're going to be increasingly honoring this path and this journey. You're going to be increasingly honoring this journey that you're on to be more of the soul that you're designed to be, that you are going to, minimize the things that don't support you and don't respect you and move more into living a life of purpose and a life of peace as you do the deeper inner work. So friends, we are so grateful you joined us today. Again, respect yourself and your boundaries. Ask yourself the question, is this respecting me when you're going through life and there's the energy's not feeling right or you're running into something that doesn't feel good? Ask this question. And if you need support, reach out. That's what I'm here for. Reach out to a therapist, reach out to a counselor, ring me up and we'll have a session, because I want to help you guide through these steps. So you don't have to just, rage quit. You don't have to leave mad. You can learn to navigate these relationships. You can learn to respect yourself, even if you're guided out of something. You can respect yourself and even the other person in a way if you're properly guided and supported on the journey. So this is our goal. So my hope for you is on this tax day in the U.S., respect yourself and your boundaries, know your goodness, know your wholeness, and know as you do this, friends, you are supported by the whole universe. You're supported by the universe. God loves you and God supports you. So we thank you so much for joining us today on the Experience of the Soul, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Blessings on the journey, dear friends.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2024 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the SoulWorks Group, Incorporated. Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting.
the SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.